Hey guys, it's Greg again, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for everybody who has been tagging along a little here and there. I have finally finished sequencing the photo book, at least the first rough draft. I plan to go through it again, maybe one more time. But I kind of want to give you guys a couple glimpses into the photo book and glimpses into some of the pages and the sequences and kind of where I arrived on some of this. I had a few themes working together as I was sequencing and a few elements that overall I might have really loved the photo. I kind of just left on the table, and there's a few other projects that I may come back to within the realm of what was left on the table. So with that being said, I'm going to give you guys a look at the photo book. All right, so like I was saying, this is the photo book. This is kind of how I've sequenced it. And I just want to, run through kind of my thoughts of sequencing, run through the ideas that I had. I would love any kind of, information, any kind of advice or critique that you guys may have. I'm not going to go through the whole book. I do want to try to keep these shorter. Let's just start right now with the cover, which this is a photo I have loved. And I tried to lay it out so as you'll see, this is the cover. And then I made it so that as I'm looking, or if I'm showing it to somebody in person, I can actually flip through it. So boom, this will be my flyleaf. And then this will be the opening page, which opens directly to the A. Jackson water tower. We have two of them in town that are, this isn't the more famous one, but this is the one that has the name of the town on it. So I did this in a way that I have the recto and the verso, and so I can actually flip like I'm looking at a book. And so boom, right after you open up the page that says Jackson, that page, you're going to come directly into these two pages, which are going to be the courthouse, Jackson County Courthouse. And the way I was trying to think about it was keeping this side, because anytime you turn a page in a book, you're going to this page, the verso, that's your next page, but your eye is always catching this page. So if I turn a page in a book, and tell me this might not be right, but this is what makes sense to me, and this is how I kind of see photo books. Part of it probably comes from growing up reading manga, but probably not. When I flip the page, the first thing I see is this photo. It's what's exposed, so that as I'm flipping, I see this and then this. And so that's kind of how I structured these, was I sequenced them almost like a manga coming from here to here. So I wanted to tell a story no matter which way you look at it, whether you're going from left to right or right to left, but subconsciously, when you flip a page, you're going to see that right page first, the verse or the recto. I keep mixing up. The recto will be on the first page you see. So that's kind of how I laid the whole book out. So the goal here is initially when you flip open the book, you're opened to Jackson, the water tower. And then as you flip through, I started with stronger downtown iconic building images. I tried to begin with something that everybody's familiar with. The whole point of this is to see Jackson kind of how I see Jackson as a photographer, as a skateboarder. My goal was to try and bring people in to how I see Jackson. And a part of that is these iconic buildings. This is somewhere I feel that I can have common ground with the viewer, whoever's reading this book, whoever's picking it up. If they live in Jackson, they're going to know these pages. They're going to understand these pages. So I wanted to start there before I begin to take them on a journey through the more random parts of town that they may still know, but kind of seeing through the way I look at it, and then parts of town or aspects of town that they probably never really noticed or cared about. So anyways, flip, we go straight to the Cambrian Hotel, which is now a nursing home. It's a beautiful, beautiful building. Opening image is the image that I talked about in the last video that is an odd composition to most. I've always loved it, but I opened with that, and then over here is just the building by itself and then a detail of the building. I love when photos are kind of laid out in a way that are opposite to each other. So like the top photo is a perspective looking at it from the right side, and then the bottom photo is a perspective looking up and from the left. So I just like that. And then from this point, we start to segue away from just downtown buildings. This one it's just blue, orange, it's beautiful. The colors take you. And so I wanted to have kind of this juxtaposition of this beautiful church right here. And then you have this dead tree branches, black and white film, gritty, the same exact steeple, all of that. And then right below it, it's sequenced with a cemetery, because a lot of the times you have, you know, funeral homes or churches, and they're associated with the cemetery in some way. Part of that was right here where I give it a little rest. So you're just introduced to one detailed image of spring flowers. So that would be a quick fall, winter, death, all of this. And then now, okay, we're gonna start again. This is almost like a new beginning of the book. Where I live, yard sale season is the very beginning of spring and the beginning of fall. And so you'll have a few weeks of just straight yard sales. This is the iconic water tower in Jackson. And as the sun sets, you'll notice that there was kind of a mini theme, in that at this portion of the book, a lot of the photos, starting with that last fall photo, are starting to turn into sunset, nighttime, blue hour, like all of that I held off to the end of the book. We're in that same area of just sunset, blue hour, a silhouette of my wife, friends skateboarding, and then moving into some of the final shots. I went over these photos a little bit. Basically, I just went for these really nice color dynamic photos. I love the settings on these, or the feelings of these, right into more silhouettes, fires. I feel like these are strong, fun, great images. You'll have this photo of a self-portrait of me shooting into a mirror, and there's me with the reflection of what's behind me in the mirror and on the glass. Just kind of a fun photo. And I'll have closing thoughts here. I decided to save all of that for the end instead of putting anything in the beginning, because I don't want any of my words in the beginning. I want you to form your own opinion, your own thoughts, your own feelings around these photos, because I want you to see how I see, but I want you to see how I see almost how you see, and then come here and then have my information of you know, my thought process and all of that. Thanks so much, guys, for making it this far in the video. If you enjoyed it, if you got this far, please comment below your favorite photo, and also any critiques, anything that you have to offer, any thoughts. I would love to hear them. I would love the help. I would love the encouragement. I've grown to enjoy these videos, trying to make them once a week, keeping myself accountable, even knowing that like there's a handful of people out there who are watching. I would love for that to continue. And my next step is basically getting the digital files ready, as long as this is the final draft, getting the digital files ready and then picking a publisher, which I'm leaning toward Mixam right now. So anyways, I'll end there. Thank you guys so much. That, you know, it's huge to know that there's even 2, 3, 4 people out there who, you know, are following along and they care and they want to see where this goes. And it kind of pushes me to want to do better and want to finish the project. So thanks, guys. Thanks so much. And I'll see you guys in the next video.